So today was a tough day. Nothing crazy, nothing super dramatic or catastrophic or anything, but just a tough day. My son's school started back up, but it's hybrid schedule. So today was the second day of remote class, right? He goes in some days, he's home some days. So he was home today. Busy day at work, working from home. I've mentioned in some other videos, my wife has some health issues. Just a lot going on today. So a few other things that came up, just personal stuff. Again, not catastrophic, but just not ideal stuff, which made it for a tough day. Long day, stressful day, a lot to get done. And I guess my takeaway from that, on a positive note, is that I think some of the things I've been talking about in these videos, some of the things I've been trying to practice and get better at around mental toughness and perspective and not letting my emotions get the better of me. I think the positive of today was that started to prove out a little bit. That started to show some return. I think about often a year ago, 5 years ago, how I would have responded, maybe even 6 months ago, to a day like today. And I think it would have been extremely different. Once things started going wrong, once things started getting stressful, intense, anger, frustration would have taken over. It would have started to snowball. I would have started to, as I say, catastrophize and start thinking about all the worst things that could happen. And I'm going to get fired from my job because I have too much going on at home and I can't do the work I need to do. And I'm super stressed because I have to get dinner ready and I have to do all this stuff. And in some sense, I would have justified the fact of I have every right to be angry and to be mean to my family and to be just cranky and in a bad mood and just pissed off for the day. And when I think about what's changed, right? What allowed me today to do a better job. It wasn't perfect by any means. I definitely got frustrated at times, but on balance, I think I did a much better job. When I think about what allowed me to do that, I think the two things that come to mind, one is mental toughness, which I've talked about a lot and been talking about recently. Just the idea of you start to get comfortable with being in a tough spot. You start to get comfortable with needing to leverage your mental toughness and to say, all right, this sucks, this isn't ideal, but it is what it is. And I've done shitty stuff before. I've had to deal with shitty situations. You kind of go through it enough, you train your mind, as David Goggins would say, you callous your mind around it, and it starts to build up a little bit of a barrier or a shield to it, where it isn't as bad. You start to appreciate the fact that bad shit happens and you make it through it. And the mental toughness goes a long way in that, because I also think the mental toughness contributes to not letting your identity issues or emotionally charged feelings take over. You have the mental toughness to say hey, yeah, this isn't a great day, things aren't going my way, but I'm not going to be that childish, I'm not going to be that immature, I'm not going to let myself just throw a tantrum here. I'm going to have the mental toughness to say put on your big boy pants and deal with it. Just do what you got to do. The other thing, which maybe is even more impactful, I think, is more logical. It's not as much just the toughness piece of it and just callousing, the mind around it. It's more logical. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Just the logic of acting out, acting frustrated, getting annoyed by a certain, set of events or circumstances that happens. It's just not logical. It sounds corny, it sounds cliched, it sounds idealistic, it'll sound like all the things, but for me, it actually holds true, I've found. You only get one life. Every day is something that you should appreciate, right? 24 hours in a day, make the best of it. If I'm gonna spend that day just angry, for whatever reason, right? Even if it's a day like today where there was too much going on and I was stressed out and all that, what's the logic? What's the benefit of being angry about it? It is what it is. It's not going to change it. It's not going to make it better. All it does is make me miserable for a day. It makes me miserable. It makes my family probably miserable. It contributes to stress, which probably makes me less healthy. Understand that, like, hey, that stuff all sucks, but I'm still gonna go have fun playing with my son, or I'm still gonna get a workout in and feel good about that. I'm gonna do what I can do today, because logically, why would I do anything else? Why would I choose to just double down on the negative and let that kind of win out? I just don't see the point of it. And that logical piece just starts to win out. I talk about this all the time. When you unlock some of the logic behind your actions and your thinking, at least for me, it's hard for me to then go against that. When the math is so clear that, like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, it's hard for me to do that thing anymore then. Even if I'm conditioned to do so, even if it's habit, it's hard for me to still continue because it's just so illogical. So it's a good defense against your mind just trying to revert back to the old ways. So I think that second piece is a big part of it. And, lastly, I'll say what's also cool about it is when days like today happen, you start to appreciate and realize, like, hey, this is more money in the bank, if you will. This is more me showing my mind that I have the mental toughness, that I have the ability to do this, which just makes it that much easier the next time, because you have that next reference point to call on to say, hey, I've had shitty days and I've been able to handle it. And when you're in that moment, again, back to that calculation you're doing, because we're always doing some logical calculation. Am I going to flip out? Am I going to be angry and frustrated, right? Is that the best thing I could be doing right now? When you start to appreciate the value of, like, no, this is an opportunity for me to prove to myself and build more mental toughness and show that I can handle this the right way, it makes it that much easier to do it because you appreciate it and you've seen it and you've seen that it works before. So, for me, small wins, right? Nothing amazing that I did today, but the ability to see that the way I handled today, September 9th, 2020, versus how I would have handled it if it was September 9th, 2019 or 2015, it's something that I celebrate and I think is a big deal and that I feel good about and want to continue to build off of. And it just gives me some continued motivation to say, hey, keep down this path, right? There's benefits to be had here. There's significant improvement in quality of life if you keep repping these key skills, trying to build these capabilities in your mind and think better, be better ultimately.